Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And we are continuing our discussion on the top 100 games on the Board Game Geek's list. So these are games that have been rated by people on Board Game Geek, and they're based on that. They're rated in ranked in different spots. But I want to let everybody know, like I do every time we do these videos, that this is a screenshot of what the list looked like in early March, because it's a very fluid, active list. Things are always moving and rearranging. New games are coming out, bumping things, more things are added. So this is just kind of a snapshot so we could have this discussion.
All right, you guys, this time we're talking about numbers 40 through 31. So this would be our 7th video in the series, and we've got 3 more after this. So stay tuned. We're getting to the good stuff now.
It's all good stuff.
Well, it's all okay stuff.
No.
Yeah, so this is, like, obviously, there's a certain pattern we've seen, as far as what kind of games show up in this list. So it doesn't necessarily appeal to everyone always, but these are, by and large, rated the highest.
Yes, yeah, by Board Game Geek peers.
By Board Game Geek users.
Yep, okay, so we're going to start with number 40, and that is PAMIR 2nd Edition.
PAMIR is a stunningly lovely game. It has this, I don't know, it looks like it's a hand-embroidered cloth board. And on top of that, it has this, what looks like it's got these kind of clay, like baked pieces that you stand them up or you lay them on the side to show that it's a road. It's a kind of like, it's got this heirloom-style quality to it that you just want to show off to everybody that you play it with. You always just have it on the table just to show people, look at this cool game I've got. It's unlike anything else that you've seen. That being said, the gameplay itself, it's kind of got like an area control, area majority thing going on with it. It's got some action points. It's got a little bit of auctions going on as well. I played this game once, and I remember thinking that it was on the lighter side. I don't know what I was missing, because BGG ranks it as a 3.84 weight, which is fairly heavy. So I don't know what I was missing. Maybe it was just like the cloth and the bits are so big and chunky.
Maybe it was physically heavy.
They were confused, or maybe I was just missing something. But I think a lot of that weight probably comes from the cards. There's cards involved as well, and they provide you with a lot of different options, a lot of things you can do on your turn that kind of drives the actual everything going forward. But yeah, this is a gorgeous game. I don't know if in the top 100 of all time, that's a hard, you've got to be, that's elite. It's that level of eliteness. I don't know. It's interesting for me. I would not have guessed this was in the top 100. But nonetheless, here it is. You
know what I would have guessed was in the top 100?
What's that?
Our number 39, Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico, yes.
Yes. This is a game to where everybody is, whoever's first chooses an action, and everybody takes that same action, but whoever chose it gets like a more superior version of that action. So it's really neat how that works and how it just kind of goes and goes and goes and goes. One of the things that I really like about this game is 2 things. One, on the box it says 3 to 5. This game wants you to play 3 to 5. It doesn't trick you. It doesn't say 2 to 5, and then when you read the rules, all of a sudden it's actually a 2-player variant, but it's actually 3 to 5. No. This game does the opposite. It says 3 to 5, and then there's a 2-player variant if you so choose. And I actually really enjoyed the 2-player variant. I felt like it had a very similar feel to playing 3 to 5, but I also like that they did not advertise that.
Yeah, this game is a classic. This is one of those things that people just often try to repeat.
Yes.
And because it's what a great mechanism of action selection. But also, this was at one point the number 1 on BGG for a long time, actually, I believe, prior to, I want to say, Agricola. So this is it's got those deep roots in the BGG community, and what a cool design. All right, so the next one we're talking about, this is number 38. This is Marvel Champions, the card game. This is a living card game, so if you're unfamiliar with that concept, it's kind of like a CCG, a collectible card game, or a trading card game, except for instead of having to open up packs and chase the rare cards and try to get your decks built that way, instead, you used to get an expansion. You buy an expansion pack or a character pack or whatever the case is, and you get all the cards that are available to you in that pack. So you're not having to luck into a certain card that you really want. If you want it, you just go and you get that expansion that comes with that set. So this is probably, I would say at this point, probably the most popular living card game on the market. The theme really, really helps it too, right? it also it's expandable. The Marvel universe is just so expandable. If you really want that special Scarlet Witch card, you can go get it. If you want the X-Men package or whatever, you can go get that. All the things are available to you. As far as how the actual game works, it's I believe it's a cooperative game. I've never played it because, to me, this is a game that you either kind of dip your toes into and you just play it with just the base game a little bit, or you dive in deep into the deep end of the pool, and you have all the cards for this, and you have...
We don't got time for that!
Yes.
No time!
So I would love to play this game. This is like once you retire kind of thing.
Yes, yeah, we're not playing this right now. It's like, it's not happening.
Yeah, so I would dedicate a lot of time to this one, as I've kind of seen some of our friends online do, because it's just such a cool idea. But just not for us right now. We got to put a pause in this one until we have a little time.
All right, number 37 is too many bones. Like an abundance of bones. There's absolutely way too many.
So there's like this Goldilocks amount of bones, right?
Yeah.
The right amount of bones.
Which is what most of us have in our bodies. Yeah.
But it's not that.
No.
But it's also not too few.
Yeah, no, it's not too few.
It's too many bones.
Too many bones.
You got an excessive amount of bones.
An excessive amount, an abundance of bones, which is what they should have called the game, an abundance of bones.
A plethora of bones.
A plethora of bones. I like that one better. A plethora of bones.
This game is kind of it's a cooperative game in this fantasy world, kind of a fantasy RPG style world. And in this game, there is just so many dice. It's too many dice. Too many bones is too many dice.
An abundance of dice. A plethora of dice.
So you have this idea where you are kind of, doing this big bag building kind of thing where you're upgrading your dice and getting better dice as the game goes on. It's got 4 different classes to choose from, over 100 dice, that all these different skills. My gosh, this is just... There's so many dice, and I think that's the big draw for this one. Getting a chance to have this cooperative deck building, but it's not really deck building, it's bag building or dice building, however you want to word that. It all kind of works similarly. It reminds me of like Quarriors, like in a cooperative way, though.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the idea behind this game, I guess. And yeah, 3.85 weight, which for a dice game, that's pretty heavy. But, you can never have too many bones.
I think you can have too many bones. I think that's a thing.
Not in this game.
Okay, so number 36 is food chain MAGNATE. Not magnet.
MAGNATE.
MAGNATE. I thought for the longest time that it was magnet. I don't know why I thought that. You know what? I'm gonna blame all of you, because I swear I've heard people say that. It's not that my brain switched it when I heard people say that to make it make sense to me. No, that's what everybody actually said.
I think to some extent I agree. They say food chain magnate, and instead of enunciating, to say food chain magnet.
Yeah, magnet, because that makes a lot of sense somehow.
All right, so this is a splatter title. Splatter titles are known for having small print runs, generally speaking, and being incredibly involved, very, very heavy. This, I would say, is the most popular, the most famous of all of the splatter titles. The most accessible, probably, also. The theming helps with that. The artwork in splatter titles is usually pretty dialed down, simplistic art. Which is no different here, except for it kind of works in this game's favor because they're going for like that 1950s, 60s diner style art. So that kind of works well with this style of game. Now this game, you have kind of a big tableau of cards. You're kind of building this tableau. It almost works the same way as like a tech tree in a way. Like you can't get some cards until you've gotten other cards, and then you can't get those cards until you've gotten an upgraded version of those cards. You're using them all to kind of grow your fast food empire over on this board. And it almost acts like a little bit like an area control style board. You have these different neighborhoods, and you're trying to send advertisements to these various neighborhoods, and people are going to go to your stores to try to buy food. They want to go to whatever's closest to them, but sometimes if you don't have what they want, they're going to drive past you. I actually enjoyed this game, working with the cards, trying to build up your engine, trying to get the tech tree kind of thing working in your favor. But also, I felt like on the order fulfillment side of things, with all the customers in the neighborhoods and things like that, it was pretty unforgiving, which I guess you would expect from a splatter title, but it also detracted from my fun a little bit of it.
Yeah. I also heard that like you can make your very first choice, like the very first action you have, you can make a bad one not knowing it's one, and it just totally like ruins the rest of the game for you.
Well, yeah, if you kind of that tech tree, once you're starting that off, it kind of aims the direction of your game.
Yeah.
And if you get a bad start, everybody else, especially if you're more familiar with the game, they're just cruising. They know what they're doing. They know exactly what steps they want to take. And if you don't, if you make a misstep early on, you're just kind of just, well, I guess I'm just going to make soda in the corner over here, and no one's going to buy my soda ever, or whatever. So there is some frustration points in this game. That being said, it's immensely popular. People talk about it a lot, and as far as spotter games go, which have the kind of cult following, this is the most popular of them all. In the top 100 here, that makes a lot of sense.
All right, number 35 is The Crew Mission Deep Sea.
Earlier in the top 100, we had talked about The Crew Quest for Planet 9, which I assume is Pluto, the 9th planet that was robbed from us.
Yeah.
That is now a dwarf planet.
Oh my gosh, I watched this video the other day about like the depths of the sea. It was terrifying. And Ryan, I saw the video, and Ryan's like, you shouldn't watch it. It's going to scare you. So I'm like, nah. And I watched it. And I'm totally like terrified.
Yeah, that's like your one of your phobias is like
is.
open water, just open sea.
And you just like see like how deep things are. Oh my gosh, it's terrifying. Anyway, The Crew Mission Deep Sea. Terrifying.
This is Bethany's worst
This
nightmare.
is a horror-themed game.
Just for you. Specifically your horror. This is, again, similar to the original The Crew, a cooperative trick-taking game, which I just love that anyways, but it gets increasingly more and more challenging as you go throughout the game. It's got a campaign that you go through, and certain people have to take certain tricks, or certain people have to take certain tricks in certain orders, and so there's some surprises and some twists along the way. A lot of limited communication, because you're all in these submarines underwater. Man, what a cool idea. We love the original Crew, and this is just the same thing, but even more.
Yeah.
So The Crew is great.
What a terrifying
both
idea.
the Crews.
Terrifying.
It's fine.
All right, number 34 is Barrage.
Barrage is a game I've only actually played once. This was I played the really nice Kickstarter version with all like the raised boards. The idea is there's this river running, there's this big dam, and water's kind of flowing down into the river, and you're trying to build dams in order to kind of reroute the water a little bit and collect electricity along the way as well, trying to run all the different engines and efficiencies that you need to do. This is, again, this is a heavier one. It's a 4.09 weight on BGG. It's kind of got this dystopian 1930s industrial kind of a vibe going on to it. It was definitely crunchy. You definitely felt it, but at the same time, one thing I liked was the river was a communal river. Everyone had the same river to work with, and how could you modify it in a way that worked for you? I thought that was a really neat twist. You usually have some kind of resources that are, you've gathered that resource, but you're not like gathering the river. The river just is, and you're just trying to do what you can with it to make it work for you.
Yeah.
This is an interesting one as well. I have since it came out, it was talked about well and regarded well, but I don't see this getting played a lot. When I'm walking, we went to a convention recently, and our local meetup and stuff like that. I don't see this getting talked about or brought out like hardly ever. Now, I don't know if that was just because of maybe the perceived length and weight of it, or the I don't know.
Yeah, but that's not. So many of the games that we're talking about in this top 100 have a big weight and length to it, and they're still coming out. They're still getting to the table. And
this one I don't hear about as much getting played. I don't see it getting played. Yeah. So it makes me wonder, like, why is it in the top 100?
Yeah.
What happened? Why is it still hitting around? So let us know in the comments below. This is one that's still hitting your guys' table with your gaming group. We'd love to hear about it. So we don't own it, but we have friends who do, so maybe we need to ask them to bring it around again to get a second crack at it.
Yeah. All right, number 33 is a Mage Night board game. It doesn't say the board game. It literally just says Mage Night board game.
What if all games said that? Wingspan board game.
Wingspan. Seven Wonders board game.
I don't know. Wormholes board game.
Dice Forge. The Thing board game.
The Thing board game.
The Thing board game.
This is a Vlaada Cheval game that is very much just fantasy, kind of combat-related, dice rolling, all that stuff kind of thrown into this game. I believe it is cooperative, from what I understand. still, besides the cooperative part of it, I would say this is not really a game that we're gravitating towards. We generally avoid a lot of the combat-heavy games, a lot of the aggressive games, stuff like that. Yeah. Not typically our jam. That being said, the cooperative nature of it, being able to go through that together, got the RPG, a little bit of deck building in there as well. It sounds like this has got a lot of good things going on in it. And obviously, it's got the design pedigree of a lot of Cheval. But this is one that we just haven't picked up yet. And it's also not a cheap game either.
You say yet, and I'm like, we're not picking it up. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, if it landed in my lap, I'd pick it up. But no, it's not a cheap game, so it's not a game that we're gonna. If we are already predisposed to not like combat games, we'll save our money and do something else with it instead.
Yeah.
But very cool. Let us know if this is your jam. Let us know.
All right, number 32 is Viticulture Essential Edition. So Viticulture had a ton of expansions that came with it, and so the Essential Editions are basically the expansions and cards that people liked the most. So that's what the Viticulture Essential Edition is. It's actually the only version I've played.
Essentially. Yeah, this is, there's just something nice about knowing that you're getting the best version of something out of the gate,
Yeah.
And obviously there's still things that you can add on to it later on. We talked about the world expansion. What a cool expansion. It's just
my gosh. It is
wild left turn from Viticulture.
It's so weird because you're playing the exact same game, right? But it's cooperative. And you think, Viticulture cooperative, how does that even work? And it does. It still boggles my mind. But I just want to warn you, I know this isn't what we're talking about, but I just want to warn you, if you play the cooperative game, the World's Expansion. You can't play it like you do the normal game, or you will lose so badly, but you kind of almost need to get it out of your system before you can actually play it.
Right.
It's just crazy that it works.
And then if you play the cooperative world expansion too much, then you go back to playing the competitive base game. It's like
you'll lose again.
What are we doing here? What is the meaning of life?
Yes. Yeah.
But as it is, the Viticulture Essential Edition, what a fantastic worker placement game. It's got a little bit of forgiveness kind of embedded in it too. Usually in a worker placement game, you go someplace and then no one else can go there. And especially if it's a spot that someone really, really needed, it can kind of give you some negative feelings, right? In this case, the more players that are playing, the more spots open up. But on top of that, everyone has at least one, or has one of this grande worker that can go to a place no matter if it's been blocked off or not. And on top of that, there's also cards that can kind of do some of the same functions as actions on the board. So if you really, really needed to do something like plant some grapes or whatever, there's cards that allow you to do it as well, in addition to all the other ways that you can mess with that. So I like this. This is very forgiving. It's kind of a nice pastoral vibe to it as well. But it's also very competitive. You're still kind of working and growing towards your goals. This is a fantastic worker placement game. Fantastic game overall. Love it here in this top 100.
All right, so we're finally here at the last one that we're talking about right now, and that's 31, and it's Everdell. Have you played this one?
Have you played this one?
Have you played this one?
Well, I just want to know if you played this one.
Yeah, but I asked you first.
Well, I asked you second, and that's
I asked you third.
So no, I have not. I have not played Everdell. What a giant embarrassing hole in my board gaming career.
I haven't either. This is one of those games that it's almost we're embarrassed to come to this one because I'm like, oh my gosh, everybody has played this game.
I almost thought about going to the store buying it just so we could talk about it.
I was gaping hole in our gameplay.
Yeah, this is an adorable game. Tons and tons of cute little woodland creatures, and it has this large tree table presence as well. It's literally this giant three-dimensional tree that you're working with as part of the board. Yeah. It just looks so cool. Looks so adorable. Heard a lot of people talk about it. I don't know how we missed it. It's not that we've missed it. It just hasn't. I don't know. I haven't had the opportunity yet.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of the games that I'm kind of surprised isn't higher up on the list. I know 31 is pretty high, but gosh, I just see this game all the time. I see it on Instagram all the time. I see people talking about it on Twitter all the time. I just see it all the time. So I'm kind of surprised. Not that 31 is low when it comes to the gazillion of games that are out there, but yeah, this is talked about all the time. But if you played it, is it is it really that huge of a hole for us? And should we be ashamed of ourselves for not having played this yet?
All I know is the next time I'm at an event or a convention,
I'm
going to do my very, very best to play this.
Yes.
If you have it under your arm,
Numicon.
yeah, exactly.
Yes.
If you're at a convention, you see us, and you've got that under your arm, grab us in the hallway, pull us over to a table, and play
Yes.
with us. We would love to play with you and also play this game.
All right, so that wraps up this conversation of this chunk of games. Of course, we want to hear from you. Are there any games on here that you've played that you're like, that doesn't really need to be on the top 100? Are there any games that you've played that you're like, yes, that deserves to be on this list? Obviously, why isn't it higher? Let us know in the comments below.
You guys, thanks so much for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye.